Great to see you again. You look great. And I couldn't help but notice, look at the cover of that book. That's a glamour shot of you. That's like Vogue.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
I'm so proud of it.
Yeah?
It didn't take forever to pick. I don't know. It's weird to have a picture, to choose a picture for a book that's going to be on the shelves for, let's hope, forever, right?
Yeah. Did you pick it?
Yeah. I was kind of a brat about it, actually, because the publishing house I work with, HarperCollins, they were like, this is the one. And I was like, that's not the one. And they were like, no, we know what we're doing. And I'm like, I know what I look like. I know what I look like.
Did they want you to look tougher?
No, they didn't. They wanted, I don't even know what picture that they wanted, but they wanted something else. And I don't know.
The eyebrows look great. I mean, that's the key.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And Mom has to love that picture, I'm sure.
I'm sure she does.
Yes. Now, as far as what's in the book.
Yeah.
Now, at first I thought it might be one of those, let me just recap all the great things I've done. And then you have the DUI, and I didn't know if you changed direction of this book after that DUI.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually did. So before the DUI happened, it was going to be kind of one of those puff books, like, look at how great my career was. Amazing. And then the humbling DUI happened, and I was like, you know what? I've got a lot of stuff going on inside of me that I need to actually talk about, and I need to be honest about, because even before the DUI, I considered myself to be pretty honest and open. There was just like this one thing that I was kind of keeping pretty secret, and the secret itself kept manifesting, and maybe more substance abuse throughout the years. So me telling the story in hopes to heal throughout the process of writing the book, and then more importantly, now that it's published, to push it out into the world to help other people.
When did substance abuse, if you even want to call it that, when did you start using cocaine or alcohol? When did you know you had a problem?
Yeah, so it was just alcohol in terms of the abuse. I have been drinking since I was of legal age, probably before then. And it was one of those things that for a long time I was using to normalize myself, to make me feel, because soccer was such a big part of my life, that I wanted to do something like the normal kids did, right? In high school and in college. I wanted to feel normal, the quote unquote normal. And then, in off seasons and in off weeks with the national team, I was never drunk on the field, and I never was that bad, thankfully. But when I did have those off times, I would definitely binge. And it wasn't until the latter part of my career where it probably was affecting me on the field, right? Yeah. The length of time in which that I was actually abusing alcohol in that way. And then for me, knowing that alcohol, you degenerate, your brain degenerates after years and years of use. So this DUI was the perfect moment for me to get really honest with myself, to get as humiliated and shamed in the media as I was, rightfully so. I don't deny that fact, but it was the right wake-up call. And finally I woke up, and I've been sober ever since.
Well, sometimes when you're a star athlete, like the other, you're on a different plateau. So by drinking, you've now become normal. You come down to them in some ways. Like, she's a star athlete. Oh, now she's going to come down and slum it with us. Was that part of it, that you wanted to be normal? You wanted to be accepted as just another person?
Yeah, I don't think it was like go and slumming with the normal folk. Like, I consider myself a pretty normal person. And the thing is like the more attention and fame that I got and celebrity that I got throughout the years, everybody wanted to drink with me, and like, I'm really sorry to all your listeners and all those guys out there that want to drink whiskey with me. I would have drank you under the table long ago. I would have done it.
Wow.
But now I'm sober, and you'll just have to be okay with us playing golf together.
Did you ever have one of those moments where somebody reminded you or told you that it was bad?
Yeah, I mean, throughout my marriage to Sarah, she was pretty on me for it, and was worried for me. It wasn't about nagging me. She was worried for my health. And I think for a long time, I knew soccer kept me within the lines pretty much, right? And then the idea of not having soccer to keep me somewhat in control, that scared me. And I think I started to spin out of control out of control towards the end.
But also, you were playing great. And then
Not in the last few years of my career. Like, let's be honest. I'm pretty conscious and aware of my ability. I hit probably 32, 33, and I started to degenerate and to not play as well. Yes, we won the World Cup in 2015, but if you'll remember, I wasn't playing.
Yeah. Did you know that it was time?
Yeah, I knew that it was time. In fact, if we had won the World Cup in 2011, I would have retired after we won the gold medal in 2012. I only kept playing because I didn't have that World Cup championship to look at. I don't even have the trophy, right? But it's just like, it's this metaphorical thing that we have.
Sometimes we'll look at athletes or look at stars, and we want them to be stars. We want them to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like you let people down? Or do you, because you're going to get people who are eventually going to realize that they'll thank you because you did this,
right?
That you said this because you'll help people.
Yep.
But you were put up there. You're Abby Wambach. I mean, you're red,
Right.
white, and blue.
Right.
And then this happened. Like the little girls who or parents may look up to you.
I don't care, really. I have to be myself. I have to be in my truth. I would rather be honest and loved than shiny and admired, because I think that the pedestals that we put people on, celebrities or athletes, it's all BS.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. It's not really who they are. You only show the world what you want people to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're on the radio, on television for hours and hours every morning, you still only show people what you want them to see. And for me, doing that for so many years made me worse, made my problem worse. And it magnified all of those issues and the fraud that I felt like I was.
So you're leading a double life.
I felt like I was, you know, and I feel like a lot of celebrities do.
Oh, sure.
I really do. And, you know, for me, my problem was that I have an addictive personality. So that feeling and living that double life could, you know, spin out of control like it did, and it wasn't healthy for me.
The book is called Forward, a memoir, available in bookstores online. Has your mom read this?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure if she's read it.
Did she know that you had problems?
She didn't know the extent of the problems. She didn't know the prescription pill problem that I was, that I had a prescription pill abusing problem towards the end of my career. I think she's scared because she knows that I was in so much pain and I wasn't able to talk about it. But that's the thing about any abuse or addiction issues that people have, is people are so ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And there's this stigma attached to it that's like, you're bad or you're weak. And it's just not true, right? You're in pain and you're suffering. So if you are out there and you need help, just talk to somebody, even if it's your mom, even if it's your coworker. Talk to somebody, because as soon as you start telling your truth, you're going to be able to get better and get help.
I want to come back. I want to ask you, you had the conversation with your mom when you came out. I want to talk to you about that.
Yes.
And you do write about that.
I do.
I don't know what was tougher, to tell her you had an alcohol problem or substance abuse, or that you were coming out. And I also want to ask you about Hope Solo, playing with her. So we'll continue with Abby Wambach. The book is Forward, a memoir, available in bookstores and online. More after this on The Dan Patrick Show. The book is Forward, a memoir, Abby Wambach. The new book available, bookstores, online, two-time Olympic gold medalist. And it's not a puff book, believe me. It had to be, there's some tough parts in there, I'm sure, to revisit. But Abby's talked about that in the first segment with us. Tim Tebow will join us in 15 minutes from now. But let me go back to, you'll have to have a conversation with your mom about substance abuse. But you've had that conversation with her about coming out as a lesbian. How old were you when they had that conversation with your mom?
I was 22 when I first came out to my mom, and you know, she is Irish Catholic, and I was brought up in kind of a conservative, smaller town, Rochester, New York. And so, you know, she understandably maybe didn't understand it at the time. And so it's been an evolution, the way that my mom has kind of come into knowing my sexuality and been accepting of it. And for that opportunity to like help her evolve, you know, I'm really proud of that. And so when I actually had to have these conversations with her about my substance abuse problem, I think she was not, it's like comparing apples and oranges,
Okay.
right? Because first of all, my substance abuse problem was behavioral things that I was, you know, I was sick, and coming out is like telling my mom, like, who I am, right? So those are kind of different things. She was just more scared for me now because she was worried about the way the public would perceive it. She was upset that I was in so much pain and I wasn't able to actually tell her about it. And that's just the thing with any kind of substance abuse or addictions, that people are just ashamed of it and you keep it inside.
Have you gotten negative reaction though?
Actually, no, I haven't. And I think that will allow her to feel better about this whole process. But I think that at first, when I got the DUI, it was a little bit of a punishment. I was trying to punish myself. I'm just going to tell everybody everything and show that I am the good person that I am, and I am like authentic and all this stuff.
As you roll your eyes.
Well, I mean, at the time I was like, authentic.
You could do no wrong.
Authentic is like that, like the trendy word that's happening.
Yeah.
Like everybody's calling themselves authentic, and I'm like, whatever. I like defined that word like years ago.
So you have that conversation with your mom, and then how's the relationship?
It's good. I mean, I love my mom so much, and we have come so far. And it's not easy to be the mother of me. I mean, I have to give her a lot of credit because I was kind of a wild kid. I wanted to do everything myself. I wanted everything to be my choice. I wanted to make my own mistakes, and I didn't want any advice. I was kind of a jerk in some ways. But that's part of my personality that allowed me to find the success that I was able to achieve.
Did you play that way?
Yeah, I mean...
Would I hate playing you?
Well, here's the thing. I was a good teammate, but I also I had really high standards for myself, personally, individually.
Did you talk smack?
I never really talked smack. I talked like fun smack, like, I don't even know. I have like zero example that's coming
Is
to
it going to
mind.
sound corny if you...
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like,
Hey, take that.
Yeah,
There's
like-
more where that came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Suck it, China.
I mean, I think that there would be a few more expletives in it.
Oh, okay.
Like, that, it was that kind of fun.
What happened with U.S. soccer at the Olympics?
Um...
On the field.
I think that they just got really tight. They got nervous. I think that they weren't performing that well throughout the tournament. They had moments of doing well, but overall, for me, they didn't have a soul. They kind of it looked like a team that were trying to define themselves, but trying too hard, if that makes sense.
But were you that soul?
I don't.
Did you try to be that soul?
Of course, I felt like that was part of my job as a leader, is to inspire people to be better than they think that they can be. And Christian Rampone, my counterpart captain, she did all the other stuff, right? I was kind of the emotional person. And so even late in the game, the last game that they ended up losing at Sweden, you look around and people had kind of like deer in headlight eyeballs on. And that scared me. I saw it. And I'm like screaming from my couch, right? I'm like, come on. Like, what are you doing? Like, let's go, And I have nothing but love and respect. And I know how hard it is to play on the stage. And I know everything like has to come and happen perfectly to advance in big championship games. But I do think that something was missing. And it's not me. It was something. There was like this thing that was missing that I couldn't put my finger on.
Did you like Hope Solo as a teammate?
That is a very pointed question. I think that I respected her ability on the field. Hope and I clashed a lot, right? We butted heads, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, we were very opposite ends of the spectrum by ways in which we played.
Did you fight?
Yeah, we argued. We argued quite a bit.
But physical? Did you have a fight?
No.
Oh.
That would never happen.
Okay.
No, we argued quite a bit, and that we had kind of this love-hate relationship where we're like sisters, where like we'd get on each other's nerves, or I'd say something and it would piss her off, or she'd say something and it upset me. So there was a lot of that going on, and I think that we found a way to manage and work with each other. Because throughout the time that I played, there was no better goalkeeper, right? And that's something that Hope will always have in my mind, that she was the best goalkeeper when I was playing, hands down, without question. But was she difficult to work with at times? Hell yeah. And was I? Probably, because we're these big personalities. And when two big personalities walk in the same room, You're bound to have some fun confrontation.
Did you have any problems with her comments about how Sweden played, calling them cowards?
Yeah, I have big problems with that. I don't think you ever you never call another team coward after you've just been beaten, right? The rules in the game are the rules in the game, and you don't want to be a sore loser. Not when you're the best team in the world, right? That to me looks weak. When you're pointing fingers at another team that just beat you and call them that's like playground stuff, right? Be a professional. Stand up and say, you know what? They beat us at our own game. They played better than us today. Call it a spade a spade. Like if I were Sweden, it's exactly what I would have done. It's exactly the team Sweden has always been and has always been known to play. That's like the way that they've always played.
But if we go back 10 years, if she's 10 years younger and she makes this comment, is she suspended by USA Soccer? Or fired?
I don't know, because I think that the suspension was a Lifetime Achievement Award, right? It was. I mean, in terms of her longevity on the team and how many mistakes and stuff that she made, you know, and I'm not judging her because, listen, I've made mistakes also. But for her, I think it was a compilation of all these things happening. So 10 years ago, I don't think she's made all those mistakes, right? And so I think that in the end, is why U.S. Soccer decided to suspend her.
Well, I thought it was easy to suspend her now because I think she's past her prime, or at least they want to move on from Hope Solo. And
Right.
this was a convenient out for them. That was the feeling I got.
Yeah, I mean, it may look like that, and I wasn't in those rooms or wasn't a part of those conversations. Thankfully, you know, I think that, you know, when something like that happens and you know what it's like to have been there in those rooms, in those conversations, it was actually really nice to be at home. To be at home this time, I was like, okay, this is interesting to be on the outside.
How important is it to be introduced as the greatest U.S. women's soccer player or the greatest U.S. soccer player in history? The
difference between women and okay.
Or just being recognized as the greatest U.S. soccer player of all time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first of all, I think that the greatest of all time thing is like so weird. First of all, like anybody who actually is the greatest of all time, like doesn't think that they are.
But do you want to be?
No.
Do you want to be recognized as that?
No, nobody wants to be recognized as that. Like
the greatest of all time?
Only like Muhammad Ali, who coined the phrase, right?
Yeah.
He's the one. All the rest of us are just like peons. Like all the rest of us are just like little minions that he just was
So when you walk in the room and then somebody goes, it's Abby, greatest soccer player, U.S. soccer player of all time. You don't want somebody saying that?
I mean, no. I want them to be like, oh, there's Abby.
Oh.
Yeah. Like
That's it?
I don't care about that stuff. I like legitimately, it would make me uncomfortable if like people attach greatest of all time to every time I walk into a room.
Then I don't want you guys to do that anymore when I walk in the room. Okay?
No more.
Okay. I've learned.
We had no idea that we were, embarrassing you like that. I'm sorry.
I'm growing. Yes, I'm maturing. Wait till I put out my memoir. Abby Wambach's new book is Forward, a memoir, available in bookstores online. It's always great to see you. Thank you,
too.
and loved your honesty in the book.
Thanks, Dan.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.